The phone buzzed in my pocket, sharp and insistent, pulling me out of the moment. I wiped sweat from my forehead and stepped outside the makeshift medical tent where the midday sun beat down on the dusty village in rural Guatemala. The name on the screen stopped me cold. James, my stepfather. I almost let it go to voicemail. Years of his schemes had taught me his calls rarely brought good news, but a flicker of hope or maybe just curiosity made me answer. "Hello," I said, keeping my tone flat. "Sophie, just thought you'd want to know I sold the rich cabin." His voice was bright, like he was announcing a lottery win. My grip tightened on the phone. "You what, sold it?" he repeated, casual as if he'd offloaded an old couch. "For the greater good mine, mostly." He laughed, a smug sound that set my nerves on fire. "My name's Sophie Larson, and that cabin wasn't just a vacation home. It was my heart, my refuge, my everything." And James had just ripped it away. But he didn't know the secret. I held a legal shield that would turn his betrayal into his undoing. I'm 38, a nurse who spends half the year volunteering in underserved communities. The cabin, nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, was my anchor. I'd bought it a decade ago with my best friend, Emma, pooling our savings to create a haven. It was where I'd spent childhood summers with my mom, chasing fireflies and hiking trails before she married James when I was 16. After her death 5 years ago, the cabin became my sanctuary, a place to heal, host friends, and recharge between grueling aid trips. I'd poured love into every inch, sanding floors, painting walls, planting wildflowers. James, though, he saw it as a cash machine, like everything else in his life. "You had no right," I said, my voice trembling with fury. "That cabin wasn't yours to sell." "Relax, Sophie," he drawled. "I've been handling things while you're off playing hero." It was sitting empty. I cleared some debts. "You'll thank me later." "I'll thank you when pigs fly," I snapped, hanging up before his smugness could push me further. I paced outside the tent, the humid air thick in my lungs. The audacity. Selling my cabin to pay off his gambling debts? It wasn't just a betrayal. It was theft. But James didn't know the full story. Emma and I were co-owners, and our legal agreement required both our signatures for any sale. He thought he'd won, but this was far from over. I sat on a crate, staring at my phone, replaying his words. The cabin wasn't just a place. It was where I'd scattered Mom's ashes under the oak tree, where I'd laughed with friends over late-night campfires, where I'd found peace when the world felt too heavy. James had no connection to it. To him, it was a line item to fund his reckless bets. My mind flashed to his history, charming Mom into marriage, draining her savings, guilt-tripping me into family loans I never saw repaid. At 16, I'd been too young to fight back. At 38, I was done letting him walk over me. I called Emma, my hands still shaking. "Hey, Soph, what's up?" Her cheerful voice answered. "James sold the cabin," I blurted. Silence. "He what?" "To pay off gambling debts," I said, bitterness creeping in. "Thinks he can do whatever he wants. But he doesn't know about our co-ownership agreement. He can't sell without your signature." Emma let out a sharp laugh. "He's got some nerve." "No shame, that man." "None," I agreed. "I'm wrapping up here in a week. Can you pull the legal docs? I want to be ready when I get back." "Done," she said, her tone fierce. "We'll fix this together." Hanging up, I felt a spark of resolve. James thought I was too far away, too busy saving lives to notice his betrayal. He was wrong. I wasn't the timid girl who'd let him manipulate her. I had allies, evidence, and a fire in my gut. This wasn't just about a cabin, it was about reclaiming my life from a man who'd taken too much for too long. The next week was a blur of work, treating fevers, stitching wounds, teaching hygiene classes, but James's call haunted me. Every quiet moment brought images of the cabin, its creaky porch, the way the mountains glowed at dusk, the fireplace where I'd read Mom's old novels. I journaled late at night, the words spilling out. "He thinks he can steal my home, my peace." Not this time. Writing grounded me, reminding me why I fought. The cabin was my tether to Mom, to myself. James didn't just sell property. He tried to erase my history. Emma called midweek, her voice all business. Got the agreement. It's ironclad, neither of us can sell without the other's consent. The sales invalid, relief hit, but anger followed. Who'd he sell to? No official transfer in county records, she said. Sounds like an under-the-table deal. Typical James, of course. Always a shortcut, always a scam. What's our move? I asked. We can confront him or let the law handle it, Emma said. Either way, he's got nothing, I exhaled. Thanks, Em. I'll be home soon. Let's hit him hard. Back in Virginia, my apartment felt foreign, dusty, neglected, mail stacked by the door. I dropped my bags and called James, ready to test him. Well, the world traveler's back, he said, his cheer dripping with condescension. What do you want, James? I cut in. Just checking you're not still whining about the cabin. It's gone, Sophie. Move on. My jaw tightened. Funny, because the records show no sale. Emma and I co-own it. Without her signature, your deal's worthless. A pause, long and telling. You think you're clever, he said, his voice tightening. The buyer paid cash. It's done. No, it's not, I shot back. You stole from me, and I'm coming for you. He laughed, but it was hollow. You're ungrateful, always have been. I raised you when your mom couldn't cope. And this is my thanks. You didn't raise me, I said. You used me. And now you're done. I hung up, my pulse racing. For the first time, I'd rattled him. The next morning, I spread the co-ownership agreement across my kitchen table. Its terms were clear. Joint consent required for any sale. James's stunt was illegal, plain and simple. Emma emailed more documents, county records, our original purchase contract. I called Sarah Klein, a real estate lawyer we'd met through a mutual friend. This is straightforward, Sarah said after reviewing the files. The sales, void without Emma's signature. We can send a cease and desist letter to James and any buyer, demanding they halt the transaction. If they push, we file for fraud. Let's start with the letter, I said. I want him to know we're serious. While Sarah drafted the letter, I tracked down the real estate agent James had used, a woman named Carla Hayes. Her voice was nervous when she answered. Miss Larson, I had no idea the cabin was co-owned, she said. James said he had full authority. I flagged the deal as odd because the buyer's payment was incomplete. Can you send me the paperwork? I asked. I need proof of what he did. Absolutely, she said. I'm so sorry. Her email arrived an hour later. A sale agreement with James's signature, claiming sole ownership. My stomach churned, but it was the evidence I needed. That afternoon, Emma and I met at a coffee shop to strategize. She slid a folder across the table. Cease and desist draft. Sarah's ready to send it. I skimmed the letter, its language sharp. Any attempt to transfer ownership without consent is fraudulent and will face legal action. This'll hit him like a brick, I said, grinning. Emma nodded. He's used to bullying you into silence. Not this time. We sent the letter via certified mail, ensuring James couldn't dodge it. I pictured his face when he read it, shock, maybe fear. He'd underestimated me for years, but I was done playing his game. The next day, I visited the cabin, needing to feel its familiar embrace. The drive through the mountains was quiet, the air crisp with pine. Unlocking the door, I inhaled the scent of cedar and memory. The living room was just as I'd left it. Mom's old quilt on the couch, photos of Emma and me on the mantel, the fireplace where we'd toasted marshmallows. I sank onto the sofa, tears prickling. This was home, and James had tried to steal it, but he wouldn't win. My phone rang, shattering the moment. James, you're making a mistake, Sophie, he said, his voice tight with anger. Calling lawyers? Dragging me through the mud? You'll regret this. I regret ever trusting you, I said. The cabin's mine and Emma's. Your sale's dead, and you're lucky I haven't pressed charges yet. Charges? He scoffed, but there was a tremor in his voice. You wouldn't dare. I'm family. "You're not my family," I said. "You're a thief." I hung up, my hands shaking but my resolve ironclad. He was rattled, and I was just getting started. Sarah referred me to Detective Anna Ruiz, who specialized in property fraud. I met her at the station, bringing the sale agreement, co-ownership contract, and Carla's emails. "This is solid," Anna said, flipping through the files. "James misrepresented ownership, which is fraudulent. We can contact the buyer and void the deal. If he persists, we'll pursue charges." "I want to move forward," I said. "He needs to face consequences," Anna nodded. "We'll start with the buyer. Stay in touch." 2 days later, Anna called. "The buyer's backing out. They didn't know about the co-ownership and want no part of a legal mess." The sale's voided. Relief flooded me. "So the cabin's safe?" "Legally, yes," she said. "It's still yours and Emma's, but we're investigating James for fraud. Do you want to press charges?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes. He can't keep doing this." "Understood," Anna said. "We'll keep you posted." I called Emma, my voice lighter than it had been in weeks. "The sale's off. The cabin's ours." "Yes," she cheered. "And James? Police are on him. Fraud charges are coming." "About time," she said. "He's had this coming forever." We planned to meet at the cabin that weekend, a victory lap of sorts. I spent the evening journaling, processing the whirlwind. James had been a shadow over my life since I was a teenager, his charm masking a selfishness that hurt everyone around him. Standing up to him wasn't just about the cabin. It was about breaking free. Saturday, Emma and I arrived at the cabin with a bottle of Pinot Noir and a plan to celebrate. We sat on the porch, the mountains stretching before us, their peaks catching the golden light. "To us," Emma said, raising her glass, "and to never letting anyone mess with our home." We clinked glasses, laughing. The air felt lighter, the cabin's warmth wrapping around us. "You were fierce," Emma said. "I've never seen you like that. I've never felt like that," I admitted. "All those years I let him push me around." "Not anymore." We talked late into the night, reminiscing about the cabin's history, our first summer there, sanding floors until midnight. The time we got snowed in and played board games by candlelight. The quiet mornings when the world felt right. James had tried to take that from us, but he'd failed. The cabin was more than a place. It was a symbol of our strength, our bond, our refusal to bend. Monday, Anna called with an update. "James has been charged with fraudulent misrepresentation and attempted theft. He's due in court next month. The case is strong." "Your documents." "Sealed it," I exhaled, a mix of triumph and melancholy. "Thank you, Anna. This means a lot. You did the hard part," she said. "Standing up to family isn't easy." Family. The word stung. James had never been family, not really. Mom had loved him, but his love was conditional, tied to what he could gain. I called my stepbrother, Nate, James's son from his first marriage. We'd stayed in touch, despite his father's chaos. "I heard about the charges," Nate said, his voice heavy. "I'm sorry, Sophie. Dad, always chasing the next big win." "I know," I said. "I just couldn't let him take the cabin." "You shouldn't have to," he said. "I'm glad you fought." Weeks later, I stood on the cabin's porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains pink. James's court date loomed, but I felt at peace. The cabin was safe, its walls holding memories of Mom, Emma, and me. I'd renovated it since the ordeal: new paint, a stone path, a garden of lavender and daisies. Each change was a declaration. This was mine, and I'd protect it. Emma joined me one weekend, bringing plans for a summer barbecue. "We're making new memories," she said, sketching a fire pit layout. I nodded, smiling. The cabin had always been my refuge, but now it was something more, a testament to my courage. James's betrayal had pushed me to my limit, but it also showed me my strength. I wasn't just a nurse or a daughter or a friend. I was a woman who'd fought for what mattered and won. My phone buzzed with a text from Nate. "Dad's pleading guilty. Wants to talk." I stared at the screen, then set it down. Maybe I'd hear him out, maybe not. His words couldn't undo the past. The cabin, the mountains, the life I'd built, they were mine, earned through years of love and grit. And no one, not James or anyone else, could take that away again.